Is this Wubin X4 among the best $50 flashlights that we have on the market today? Or is it a flashlight that's just trying to do too much for its own good? Welcome, this is Haku EDC. We're diving into a light that is an absolute beast. This is the Wubin X4. While considered a flat flashlight by many, this flashlight is more like a brick than some of the more traditional flat flashlights. And because of that, it has some unique qualities that may make it something that you would enjoy. The light itself can be described as high powered because it's got 1500 lumens and ultra modern look, or this sort of what I call this brick 2025. Its throw is 105 meters, which is, to those of us inside the US, 2 football fields. So you have a lot of distance with this. That's frankly the maximum, but people that know me, the max is not what I'm looking for. It's all those steps down that are in between. Before we go into a deep dive of the styling and how it operates, let's go through the specs and numbers. This is an anodized aluminum body. It feels very sturdy in your hand, and it comes with a pocket clip. Now, the pocket clip is a one-way pocket clip, but it is functional in that one directional way. What comes inside the box is light itself, an instruction manual, standard USA style charging cable, a lanyard, and what comes inside of this, but not on the box, is a battery, an 18650 battery that is 3,400 milliamps, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Looking at the other numbers related to its dimensions and weight, I will put that up here on the screen. You can stop it if that's what you would like. It is an IP668 rating, which means that it is dust proof, and that if for like some reason you dropped it in like the water but got it out quickly, it should function for you. Please don't try to put this in the water long term. Now, some of the design highlights, like the battery enclosure, is pretty interesting. I like it. First off, the battery compartment is lockable. When you look at this really closely here on this side of it, I'm going to call this the downside. There's a little switch. This switch goes up and down. Down is locked, so this battery compartment is locked. Up, you're able to unlock it. Once it's up, you push down on the little, I don't know if you can see that here, there's like a little bit of an arrow there that you push down on. Oops, I actually locked it. Let's unlock it. Now it's unlocked. You push down on the arrow here and it pops up. And here's your battery. It's Wuben labeled. I'm not sure who actually makes the battery itself. It is an 18650 and has stated earlier it's a 3,400 milliamp battery. Fits in here, and you just push it down to lock it. So that's the battery back. The other nice thing about the battery back is that it is magnetic, which means that if you have something that is magnetic that you can put it on, it will stay. And it's a pretty decent sized magnet. Third, it has a pocket clip, has I stated, and this pocket clip is considered sort of emitter up because these are the emitters here. I, like a lot of people, would love to have this pocket clip be able to be dual, going both ways, but this will fit on a hat. This also set up to fit, on like a pocket sleeve or a belt buckle, so that you can carry it that way if that's something that you do. Now, let's talk a little bit about the emitters themselves. As you can tell by looking at this closely, it's got one large emitter, small one, and then these two here, and then these four little LED ones around it. Those emitters work in combination, and on the side here, you have a little red, green, blue, or RGB LED. A few switches here that makes this both complicated and functional. With one switch, you have right here, I don't know if you know, it has four different symbols, and this goes through all four of them. This arrow tells what it is. So it is locked. Right there, it is what I call the side light, which is this light here. This is the forward light, and this is the moon light. So as you can guess, when you're in one of these three or four, it's where you're able to make this work. It also has a little rotary dial switch. This is used for changing colors depending upon where you are or intensity of the light. This is the typically what some people would use for like the on off switch. And then there's a switch back here which I call the tactical switch. And I'll talk about that in just a minute. But when like you need to adjust the brightness, you can do this, and then what you will see is that the brightness will change, and when you're at the maximum or lowest level, you should see a little blink of the light. To do a momentary turbo, which is what makes this much more of a tactical light, all you need to do is have this set to either the front or side. Like this is the side, this is the front, and then press the button back here. And it goes right into the brightest one. That's turbo. So it doesn't matter. Here's one, so it still goes into turbo. Just as long as you have one of those set, you get the momentary turbo. Now, if you want to get a strobe, you have to click this twice. So just be aware strobe is coming up. And that's your strobe there. If you wanted to just get the moonlight access, you would take this all the way forward to moonlight, and then you just click there, and as you can tell, it's a little bit smaller, and then that's the moonlight one. Now, if you want to do the side light, you press this here for this particular side light, and what you need to do is a single click of the button on top, and that starts off with one color, and then you can use this right here to change the color. You can tell as I'm using the rotary dial that the color changes. That's kind of a neat little feature. So generally speaking, you're going to get somewhere between 1 to 10 lumens. And so it's not going to be very bright, but it'll be a nice color control. It's typically closer to 10 lumens. For like some reason, if I wanted those to flash, you could double click it while it's on the side ones. You will double click here, and then you'll get the flash. I didn't want to do it for a long time. I'll do it one more time. And so that's the flash. So those are the flashing mode. That's one of those things that I don't see a lot of people using. Just the color flash mode. I see people using maybe a red one. Going to the main light mode, which is coming from here, and then as I say, for turbo you would push this, but just for regular mode you would push that down and it will come on. And you can use the rocker switch to increase or lower the intensity. As you can tell, right when I get down to like the lowest point, it'll blink. The same with getting up to the highest point. And the lowest one is 5 lumens, and the 5 lumens lasts, I think it's at 200 hours, which is a long time. If you're at the maximum 1500 lumens, it will start to kick down after about 1 minute of time. So just be aware of that, and it'll slowly kick down to, I thought it was like at somewhere around to like 700 lumens, but then it'll eventually go to 260 lumens, I think is what it said. And it will hold there for close to 24 hours. So this still gives you plenty of usage. But then again, you can charge it up. And how you would charge it up is make sure that it's all the way in the mode here of your night mode or low lumen mode. Turn it on its side and you can plug it right in here. When it's plugged in and charging, it's this color that you see, and when it's fully charged, it's the color that you now see. And it takes from empty to full about 2.5 hours, so just be aware of that. I forgot to mention small lumens mode, which is basically it's for all the way forward. And once you put your USB charger in there, and then you can just click on it, and it's a 5 lumen mode here. And at 5 lumens, you basically have, I think, somewhere around a couple hundred hours at least. So, given what you know about this, is this something that you might have an interest in? Or have you seen these kind of things and said, nah, just let me know in like the comments? I did have an opportunity to use this in an evening time period, and I did record it, and I recorded on an SD card, and now I can't find the SD card. So I'm just going to use my basement inside my home, and you can see it in like the lumen mode and like the high mode. And I happen to be outside walking, and you can see it as I'm walking here, the use of the light and how bright it is even during the middle of the day. Let's talk a little bit about the pros and cons of this. I think one of the big pros is I like this design. As I stated, it kind of reminded me a little bit of a Snickers bar. That's about halfway of a Snickers bar there, a large Snicker bar. And it feels good in my hand. The 1500 lumens is really nice. And I'm talking about a negative about that. I like that it's USB-C rechargeable battery or replaceable battery piece. That makes this nice. If you're going to be out camping a couple weeks, you can bring along an extra battery. So when this one goes out, you can replace it. The cons are 1500 lumens is its max. When I've used it, I can tell about literally 60 seconds. In fact, I timed it on 60 some odd seconds. It really begins to kick down. And it probably kicks down to about 900 lumens, which is fine. You would want it to be above 1,000 lumens for longer, especially when we're calling it out 1500 lumen. The other thing that sort of gets me is that the clip here, I would love to have a way that you can change the clip out to go either direction and not just one directional clip. I think people might want to put this on a hat, a jacket, a coat, their bag when they're out hiking. Being able to clip it in both directions is just one slight advantage. I found out that in heavy rain, when it's on, this wheel, the rotary wheel for the lights, can get a little slippery. If you have on gloves, it gets a little weird to get a hold of because you're not as precise. Sometimes you want to be with choosing your light, your switch, or the rotary. So just be aware. Overall, this is a $50 light. It's pretty darn close to 1500 lumens. And it's got a replaceable battery. That is pretty darn good for a $50 light. The Wubin X4 is something that I would definitely use, something that I will probably carry. I can see using it when I'm going out for evening walks. You're going to be walking your dog, you're going to be walking your cat if that's what you do. It's bright enough, it's wide enough that it works, and the cob light is more an add-on than a really great useful light, but it's there. So once again, if you're looking for something 50 bucks, and if you compare to other lights that are 50 bucks, This has got to be one of the better ones. This is Haku, EDC. Please like, subscribe. See you in the future.